Go. Welcome everyone to My Star Alchemy. I'm Eric Roth here with Cayelin Castell, and we are going to be going over the Aquarius Full Moon. This is the freedom from old style thinking and game-changing energy. We're going into also some of the period that's happening before the full moon in mid-July. That really is helping to really help us understand what this, not just this month, but this year is about. So lots to talk about with this, and let's get into it.
Yeah, I just want to say
So, yes.
that this is so exciting. And forgive me because I have a little bit of a cough, so I and a raspy throat, so I'm dealing with that. Some an unexpected event that's come into my life. But anyway, the this timing of this is just one of those things that's again expands our minds in ways we didn't even know were going to be expanded.
Oh, absolutely. Um, this is where I do feel on a deeper level that this is a time for humanity where we might have some sort of jumps in our soul's evolution overall. But it could be something that we don't really notice until we look back and go, oh wow, okay. So
Yeah.
that took place and that's why. Um, so just something to keep in mind with all that's happening. And the full moon is going to be a an activator of this. And so we want to, share about this. And for those that are going to be, have been following us and connecting into the lunar cycles. This is like, I mean, all full moons are really important, but this one is connecting into the larger context of what the planets, especially the outer planets, are doing. So a few days prior to the Aquarius full moon, we have this spectacular planetary linkage centered around July 18th and 22nd. It involves all these planets that are right here: Uranus, Jupiter, Pluto, and Neptune. So an aspect of fire and air. And both of those traditionally I looked at as the masculine energy. But really what is it's more about this actional force, this energy that wants to go up and out and connect with the cosmos and consciousness and the mind. So Pluto will be at 4 degrees Aquarius, Neptune at 4 Aries, Uranus at 4 Gemini, and Jupiter at 4 Leo. And Uranus will be forming an exact trine to Pluto on July 17th for the first time in 104 years. And on July 20th, there's a exact Jupiter-Pluto opposition, while the other two planets are at 4 degrees. That's one of the major alignments that's happening. And so the last time that Uranus-Pluto trine happened was December 26, 1922, when both were in the water signs, Uranus in Pisces and Pluto in Cancer at 10 degrees. And it does feel like one of the more significant alignments of the 21st century, creating massive technological and cultural renaissance designed to reconfigure global power, human networks, and collective innovation. And yeah, I do feel that we're kind of on that edge of moving and have been, I think, moving in that direction over the years, but this is like I think it can give us a little bit of a bump. And it's not just that it's just this month. This is a multi-year alignment because these, particularly the three outer planets of Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, are going to be strongly in our lives in that mini grand trine or the special planetary alignment that has been called Marbo's basket all the way through early 2029. And there's some other things that'll happen after that, with particularly Pluto and Neptune and sextile and other outer planet aspects. But we don't want to go too far afield here. But let's just say that this is a very, very significant uh, month for humanity.
Yeah, I really appreciate too the fact that this is, if we think about the technology, and everybody's been talking about AI and the technology and all of that. that's happening, but and how is it happening? And people worry about how it's happening. But ideally, with this kind of a configuration, we could imagine that the intent is for it to happen in the most evolutionary supportive way possible. And I like to think of Uranus as revolution for evolution, not revolution for the sake of revolution, just but for the sake of evolution, how are we evolving at this time? And then, Jupiter and Leo, how it's expanding our consciousness, especially around our heart energy, how we are loving ourselves and loving each other and loving
Hmm.
life and loving what's going on the planet. Um, and of course, uh, that hasn't doesn't seem like that's what's going on in the bigger picture, but we don't know really what's going on the more personal level, except in our own personal experience, I guess. We could imagine it from that perspective. But that heart-centered leadership aspect of Leo, when it's healthy, when it's really expressing in a healthy way. And then, of course, the transformative power and alchemy of Pluto and Aquarius, and the idea that we can uh, I think die to the old ways, so to speak, so that we can be reborn to new ways. And this is getting such an infusion of energy with these aspects happening. And then, of course, Neptune being about the spiritual vision of what it is that we're doing, and being in Aries, having the courage to do this in a whole new way that is like nothing we've ever necessarily experienced before, because all these planets are working together. So I like what it says here, the catalyst to usher in a massive altruistic, technological, and industrial renaissance, united by purpose, powered by innovation, and guided by consciousness. That's pretty cool.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. No, that's well said. Yeah, these plants are really critically important particularly for on a collective level for humanity, and they've shown that time and time again over the millennia when you go back in history and look at this. Um, and so this is definitely in the cards for us, and uh, something that we can all do together is envision what we want for our lives, envision what we want for the collective, and it's a time where we can manifest that over the coming weeks and months and years ahead.
Right on.
Yes. All right. So Neptune in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. They've been in sextile off and on since the I think it's the mid 20th century. And now we're getting another big wave, the last wave of the Neptune Pluto sextiling. But this, yes, it can trigger a massive list, a lot of things that we've been talking about here, Caylin's talking about, and I've been talking about, that trigger a massive leap in collective consciousness. So physics, neuroscience, and spiritual philosophy. So how does that come in to play? And how can it maybe change forever how we perceive our interconnectedness? Um, so Barbo wrote this, as you see here, the rare celestial formation was first written about 1979, who saw this alignment nearly 50 years ago. And he has a book, it's where he's written about this. I think it's called Mundane Transits or Mundane Planets or something. I've
Yeah.
actually ordered the book because I'm curious about it now that it's getting, I had never heard about this astrologer until Uh, it was an astrologer I was following, S.J. Anderson, a couple of months ago, who talked about this. And I was like, oh, who is this person? Who is this Barbo? I want to go check it out. So this, what he imagined this planetary configuration would be as a catalyst for creating new civilization built on technological breakthroughs, global unity, and human progress. Now, obviously, on a reality, we do have a ways to go, but at the same time, I feel like the seeds are there and that we're moving in that direction, that there is this potential that could come out from this. And he also wrote that the harmonic trine between Uranus and Pluto, Pluto being transformation and power, and Uranus being technology, envisioning discoveries directly related to alleviating human suffering, restructuring global energy, and democratize information, calling this a new era of a splendid relaunch of civilization. Though it's not likely to happen in an instant, it is a time of chaotic energy of the preceding years is morphing into a coherent, stable global structure, creating a massive leap in the collective consciousness. So, um, hypothetically, humanity, if we chose to make sure everyone's got a home to go to, food for however long they want, and clean water and air, we could do that. I mean, the all if all the countries banded together, we could easily do that if we had the will to do that. But because there's such a rampant virus of greed and power and just a lack of empathy in some ways, corruption and all kinds of other things, we don't have that currently. But the spirit of it is there. The seed of it is there, and the potential we could express and connect to. And I love this very optimistic and somewhat Sagittarian Aquarian type of expression here, of maybe there is this greater truth that we could create. And I still believe that there is that possibility, even though it might not happen as Cayelin writes here in an instant, but it can actually end up showing up in the future.
As you're speaking, Eric, I'm having this image of the seed, and the seed is contained within a shell, and so the seeds, and then as the seeds begin to get ready to um, have little shoots, right? The
Yes.
shell breaks open, and then the little shoots come out, and then the growth. So it's a slow process. At first, the seeds, it doesn't look like anything's happening. And
Yeah.
then finally the shell breaks and a little bit of the whatever comes forth. And then it goes, and then it starts going faster and faster, and then it blooms, and then it's amazing and all of that. So this feels like this planetary alignment is activating the seeds so they're breaking open. So we have maybe have had the seeds for a long time. I think I know I've been on a path of enlightenment and consciousness and so on since my uh, teenage years when I started doing transcendental meditation. It was at Maharishi International University, and it was all about the Age of Enlightenment and the dawning of the Age of Enlightenment. And I mean, this was back in the 70s, so I,
Right.
I've been on this path for a really long time, and I think seeds were being planted then. So perhaps this is what's getting ready to really activate those seeds so that something can come forward in a way, and it might happen a little more quickly than we could imagine. I really would have thought it would have happened by now when I started back then. So anyway, but I love this idea, that a new era of unity, innovation, and enlightenment begins because I was all about, I wasn't marching on the streets back in the 70s, but I was about um, doing doing my meditative practices to change the consciousness of the planet. That was my radical way of being in the world way back then. So how do we do that? It's not so much, I mean, outer activity is important and we need to make the changes that will be sustainable and all of that, but it starts from the inside and
Hmm.
yeah, inside out. So this is just such a huge opportunity for us with these planetary alignments happening right before we go into this full moon.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Like that, there is, I just thinking about it, I get excited, just seeing what may come from this. And yes, that's part of the experience of being human, is that we have to also integrate in a healthy way the shadow of ourselves, the shadow of the collective. And when we look around and see the negative, quote, negative stories in the media, wherever that may be, or certain people's agenda or perspective, we have to see that from like, well, that's their perspective. What are they doing? And that's their decision. What we can control is within ourselves and how we perceive that and spread that out to others so that there potentially could be a greater future for us that is more in harmony. Uh, and part of that is I also believe that what will really bring, I had a conversation a little bit when I was doing a reading for a fellow healer up in Washington State. And I might have a few further conversation with her about this at a later time, but we were talking about our voices being able to say what needs to be said and how especially coming together and healing what needs to be healed and recognizing the shadow, but also knowing that we have the power within ourselves to create what we need to create. And anyway, so it does give me some optimism and some excitement of the possibilities, not just this month, but for the in the years to come.
Yeah, definitely. So one humanity, one planet, and infinite potential. And we are co-creating with all of this. So
Yes,
our just being attuned to this and speaking into it is part of how we're co-creating with it.
absolutely. All
So
right, go ahead.
okay, so this is the Barbo basket, as they say, I think is what they call it,
Yeah.
where it's showing Uranus at 4 degrees Gemini and Jupiter at 4 degrees Leo. Oh, I could go the other way. 4 degrees
Oh,
Neptune at four
yeah.
degrees Aries. Yeah, I was going the other
One,
way.
two,
Yeah,
3, and 4.
4. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Pluto at 4 degrees. And then on the 17th, on the 19th, I'm sorry, on the 19th of July, the moon will be at 4 degrees Libra. So all that air and fire is magnified and it creates a
That's
grand
a grand
trine.
air trine.
Yes, creates a grand trine in air. So what in the world is that? I think there's just happens to be this day in the midst of all of this where it's all at 4 degrees and the moon will come in and join the party with them. So
Hmm.
if we think about the 4 degrees or four foundational being a foundational number, the four directions, we have the four major seasons, we have the four fundamental states of matter, solid, liquid, gas, plasma. Lots of different ways that four is considered. Four represents a foundation, like you have the four corners of a building or that's the creating the foundation. So four, it's all about stability and order and physical manifestation across almost all ancient and modern systems. So this all happens to be happening at 4 degrees. So, I mean, it's like it could be any degree this was all happening. I don't know. I mean, there's 30 degrees in a sign, so it could be somewhere in anywhere within all of that, but it just so happens that it's at 4 degrees. And so we have these energies, and the green lines are showing the sextiles between them, and the blue lines are showing the trines between the planets. Yeah. And so it's just so amazing. So we have Jupiter in Leo also sextile the moon on July 19th as well. So it adds even a whole other aspect to this and it creates this, I don't know, it looks like a sacred geometry something or other there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
five-pointed star with the oppositions as well.
yeah, there you go. There you
So
go.
that's the sacred number of the feminine, sacred number of Venus. And I just it's is obviously something very, very special about this that can go even deeper as we look into it and experience that for ourselves. And we just recently experienced July 4th and 5th with Mars at 4 Gemini, and the day before it was conjunct Uranus just before 4 degrees. And then
Yes.
July 17th, Jupiter reaches 4 degrees Leo, the day of Venus moon gate. And July 19th, of course, you talked about that. So
Yes.
this,
But the
there's all
thing
this
about the
magic happening.
17th, I just want to say that Venus moon gate happens to be at the third eye chakra. It has to do with
Ah,
vision. So the vision, so it's activating. So it's like those two things kind of seem like it's like adding on to, oh yeah, let's just keep expanding our vision of the possibilities that's happening here. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
absolutely. And so I got more about this, but I also, what I wanted to bring in on this one that you could also see here, it's just not circled here, is Chiron. Um, and I've got that circled up at the top of this particular chart. And it has a 30-degree semi-sextile to Uranus and Neptune, squares Pluto and squares Jupiter. This is at the time of the full moon. Now, Chiron will be at 0 degrees the entire month of July. And what Chiron is bringing in is, especially with as it relates to Taurus and what we value within ourselves and what we value in the world. And with the challenges that we're having in the world regarding resources and especially oil, I think that, and looking back in history and seeing previous issues of resources and even oil, the last times that Chiron has been in Taurus, is bringing this to mind. And maybe now, with the help of Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, that there could be an entirely new perspective on how we view that and moving into a place where we're not destroying the earth to get in order to just have, whether it be have more financial quote wealth or build more data centers or, pump more pollution to the air. Is that something we value? And is that a reflection of our lack of real value within ourselves? Is it just covering up our wounds? So that's something I think Chiron is going to be providing some insights and some commentary on for us in our lives.
Agreed. Wow. I love that perspective because we definitely need to deal with that in order to move forward in a good
Mhm.
way. Yeah.
So you're with this full moon video, everyone, you're getting a lot more than just the full moon.
Right.
You're
Yes.
getting the more holistic look at what's really going on with the
Right.
energies that are happening.
Yeah. It's so spectacular. I mean, just it's so exciting.
Yes.
So here on July 26th, the North Node is entering Aquarius for the first time in 18 and a half years or however long it's been since the last time it was there. And it's and the South Node is entering Leo. And of course that means Jupiter and the South Node are going to have a little dance over the next year as well as they catch up to each other. But the thing that really stood out for me is this is happening on July 26th, and it's the Mayan New Year. July 26th is considered to be from a Mayan calendar perspective, or one of their calendar perspectives, is the new year. And they have July 25th is honored as the day out of time. So if we think about the 13 moon calendar, now I don't know why they call it the 13 moon calendar because I don't think it connects with the moon cycle at all because there are 13 lunar cycles of 28 days, totaling 364 days. Now, 28 days does not connect with the moon cycle. There's 29 and a half days from a new moon to a new moon or a full moon to a full moon. There's 27.3 days from the time the moon returns to a specific spot in the sky. So say it, when the moon's with Regulus, the heart of the lion, it takes
Hmm.
27.3 days for it to come back to that point in the sky. Or Altair, because actually this new moon or full moon is connected to the star Altair. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So it's not really, there's only 12 full moons most years. Every third year or so, there might be 13 full moons. So this is not really connected to the lunar cycle. But this is how the Mayan calendar is. set up. And so I don't really quite fully understand the reasoning behind it and why they call it a lunar calendar. It just doesn't necessarily make sense. And they're trying to, and then they add the day, they have the day at a time so they can keep it more aligned with the solar calendar. But it's 365 and a quarter days, so it's not even really completely aligned with that. So it's an interesting thought. But this day out of time they consider as a sacred pause before a new year begins. And here we have the nodes going into new signs on the day of the new year. So that feels significant for it just feels like this all this new energy coming in, and here we have it happening in alignment. The other thing that happens to be very significant about this time of the year, on the day out of time, and actually a few days before and after the new year, Sirius and the sun are on the horizon together. Of course, it depends on your horizon line, but they're rising together. Of course, you can't see them because you can see the sun, but you can't see Sirius. But that was significant to them as well.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
so, yeah. Anyway, we could imagine that as the North Node is entering Aquarius, we have this Aquarius full moon, with the North Node having just entered Aquarius just prior to it's been 18 years since it's been in Aquarius. So it's a rare revolutionary event marking a collective movement toward community, spiritual growth, and releasing ego-driven pursuits to benefit the greater good. Just like you were just talking about, Erik.
Yes.
Because we have a kind of greed-driven, ego-driven culture that we've been living in. So leaving behind the self-centered me, moving toward community-oriented we, where innovation and collaboration supports us to share our most innovative and authentic contributions to the greater reality so that it serves everyone and all life and the whole planet and not just a few.
Yeah, I am in full agreement here. I was thinking that the maybe the Mayans were creating this to as a compromise between the solar and the lunar calendar. As just another way to track time. But I don't know also if we have all the information dug up from that period, as if maybe they had a different way of bringing the Mayan 13 moon calendar to into sync with the annular solar calendar. Um, I don't know. I mean, but I love the day at a time experience. I think that that's something that modern society could really use
Yeah.
as a balancing act and allowing us some time of introspection and time of real deeper thoughts and to align ourselves with our path with the collective. And really, like, when we talk about being self-reflective, it's actually, also owning up and being responsible for ourselves and our actions and our words and going into that space and you know, joining in on activities if we can, whether it's spiritually joining in or joining in on the physical level with others. This is a chance to do that, and I celebrate that.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The seasonal sign of Aquarius. Yes. So it's currently at this time we're living in this age. The sign of Aquarius is primarily within the boundaries of the constellation that astronomers call Capricornus, but is known as the sea goat to differentiate that from the actual seasonal sign of uh, Capricorn. Um, and so the goatfish, sea goat, is influencing or adding its essence to the season of Aquarius, and it has elements of earth and water. So it's a hybrid. It's a alchemy of the fish and the goat, or the land animal and the sea animal, combining that that energy spiritually, energetically. Um, so embodiment with this, which is earth, and feelings, which is water. And then we can imagine the the sign of Aquarius is being infused with earthly embodied practicality, guided by the power of having the freedom to feel our feelings in safe, supportive ways that does no harm to others. And then in the image here, we have the cornucopia, horn of plenty, representing all good things in overflowing infinite abundance that can never be exhausted. And what's really interesting about the cornucopia right there, I find it fascinating too, because it's right on the edge of the water bearer, which is this little, you can see for people watching here, the hand holding this I think handle or ladle of the vessel, which is full of water, and pouring it onto the earth. And that, if you can imagine that that water is containing the knowledge and wisdom of the cosmos being poured onto humanity, and we are receiving that. And so the cornucopia is sort of the more embodiment or the physical part of that. And whereas the Aquarian, or sorry, the water bearer version of that has a lot to do with more of the air part of that, the knowledge and dealing with the mind. And so anyway, it's pretty amazing to have those particular constellations right next to each other, and I don't think that's an accident.
Agreed. And that currently the seasonal sign of Aquarius is overlaying the sea goat next to the water bear, also known as Aquarius, but now being overlaid mostly by Pisces. So the seasonal signs having it being a different thing than the actual constellations themselves. So that's why we're looking at the integration of as the seasonal signs move through these constellations, and over 26,000 years, every seasonal sign will be with every constellation. And this is really why we have evolution, an evolution of consciousness, an evolution of our experience in this reality. It's because we have these two things that are working with each other to create that. And so, yeah, it's exciting. And
Yeah.
I love that the Capricornus is like like cornucopia, like there's a connection between the two of them, and that the reminder is that there's more than enough for everyone. There's more than enough. We have all that we need. We don't
Mhm.
need to hoard. We don't need to, um, you know, I guess try to get what we think we can because there's not enough, because if we don't, then we won't have, or whatever. It's just that's just such a um unhealthy way of living. And so we to have that reminder that there's more than enough for all of us.
Yeah, we don't need to have trillionaires in the world.
Or even billionaires of but
That's true. It's like it comes from like the scarcity mindset that we need to amass so much in order to protect our security. Um, then, that's why back in, aside from defensive purposes, we, Middle Ages and Renaissance, they were building large castles and fortifications. And I think that that is metaphorically not just for defensive purposes, but it also was that, the king or the lord of the land felt safer, and even if the castles weren't necessarily like, immune to being broken down, because there was always people inventing things that could, whether it be tactics or devices that could break down castle walls, or go underneath them, or fire things, fling things above and down in. So to me, it's like this, like, why are we continuing to repeat the same things over and over again, which is ridiculous. But at the same time, I do feel like a rise of the people is coming, and their voices and their desires to overcoming the um that mentality, that capitalistic, consumeristic mentality, that we need to hoard and earn and greed and just create more and more wealth in the hands of a few. And just instead of that race, we realize we have more power together rather than just on our own.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is just showing the full moon chart
Ah,
and also where the full moon is located right there on the edge of the sea goat at the time of the exact full moon. And Pluto is right there within a couple degrees as well. So this full moon is um, being powerfully influenced by Pluto. And so what you were just talking about, Erik, is so perfect because it's it's the fear that there's not enough. It's the fear that we won't have enough. It's the fear that somehow we're not enough or whatever it is that is being activated. And Pluto is about facing our fears. And what would it take for us to really face that fear and and transmute and transform it? Because that's Pluto's job, is to transmute
yeah.
and transform. And then, of course, Pluto being in opposition, Jupiter being in opposition, adding to the alchemy, adding to expand the expansiveness and the impact of this full moon with Pluto. It and
Yeah.
Jupiter and the Sun are pretty exactly conjunct at the exact time of the full moon. So there's this powerful uh, activation, that's being energized here, and the possibility for even greater transmutation of everything we've already talked about getting thrown into the pot, right, into the alchemical cauldron. And we can see that Pluto is in a pretty close trine to Uranus at this point. It's not the exact
Oh
trine
yeah.
day, but it's still pretty close. It's still within the same degree.
Heck
So,
yeah.
yeah,
And the sextile to Neptune as well is still very
yes,
strong too.
yes, yes, yeah. So, whoa.
Yeah, big time. And I'll take a moment here since we're talking about this is the last time we had a specific alignment of the three planets of Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus in this basket type formation was in the I believe it was the mid to late ninth century of the Common Era. And then there was another one at the late fifth century. So these are exceedingly rare. Now these three planets have all kinds of other alignments over many centuries, and I've seen a lot of them as I did my research around this. But for this to happen at the same time that Jupiter is opposite Pluto, and that we're getting the full moon here, and that's even Saturn and Neptune are still in a 10-degree orb with each other right now, and Chiron moving into a new sign, Taurus. This is what makes it truly unique. Now, there may be many thousands of years ago that I haven't gone that far back, that there might have been some similar alignments that happened, 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, who knows? I haven't gone that far back, but it just shows how unique this is and how precious this is for humanity that we can all connect into. I was just reading, is it Thomas Wiley? Um, who has this series. I know is Wiley, but he writes a series about his connection to the angels and talking with angels and the Urantia book. It's a really interesting series. But in the first book, he talks about he helped gather a group together with others about the harmonic convergence, and it was all kind of a low key, word of mouth thing. This was 1987, and he was bringing people together, and he was only expecting a couple hundred, and it turned out to be 3,000 people that showed up in Central Park in New York City of coming together during that harmonic convergence of that special planetary alignment, as an example. And so this is one of these moments now that we could come together. We don't necessarily have to all be in one place, but energetically, spiritually, consciously, we can all connect ourselves into this into this celestial alignment and work with it, and psychically, meditatively, whatever you're feeling comfortable with connecting into, because it's there for all of us. It's not just the elite that can have a or the spiritual masters that can have a connection to this. Everybody can have a connection to this.
I love that. And yeah, and the harmonic convergence was, I think there was a turning point that happened there, and it doesn't necessarily look like it's been sustained. We still had some things to do and to grow and so whatever, but I was in Sedona at the harmonic convergence, and
Ah,
so many people gathered there. So people around the planet. And I remember it hasn't been that long, or maybe they're still happening, these worldwide meditation days that, thousands and thousands of people coming together to meditate on world peace or whatever it was. And so
hmm.
maybe this would, if we were going to pick a date, this would be one of those days.
Yes. Yeah, and there's other dates, of course, the 17th, the 19th, the 20th, but the 29th, I think, has a certain level of extra energy behind it because of the full moon. And as you pointed out before, there's a Sun Jupiter conjunction as well taking place.
Yeah.
Um, you listed that earlier in one
And
of
it,
the
and
other
it is
slides.
interesting to also see Hygeia within a degree of the Sun Jupiter conjunction, because Hygeia has to do with healing. So
Yeah,
it's adding that healing energy to this as well. And of course Hygeia is also opposite Pluto, and then Juno is, there with Pluto, and Hygeia is off. It's like, so these asteroids are adding energy to what we're already talking about. And Juno being maybe about how we relate to one another, and Hygeia being about how we're healing ourselves on mental, physical, emotional, spiritual levels.
yes. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. The asteroids are helping to contribute to the expression of all of this. Okay, so we have the time different times of the moonset and moonrise and the full moon here. And this is coming from Tucson time, so Arizona Standard Time, right? Is that what you have here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So 5:31, that would be same time as Pacific time, which we're on daylight time where I live here in Oregon. And so it'll be setting at 5:31, but it'll be rising in the early evening. And so it won't be, well, depending on your latitude. Where I live, it won't be completely dark yet. The sun doesn't set, I think, until about 8:30 p.m. at the end of July. So and so you have to check your
Your location.
latitude,
Yeah.
location. Yes, thank you. And then here's the solar. So these are things that you can connect into and make you curious, especially going to timeanddate.com. Of course, there's apps that you can use if you're more of a phone user and just kind of doing quick lookups. You can certainly rely on that, but Time and Date's got a lot of extra features that you can connect into, and it's really cool website to check out, including they've even got things about weather and eclipses and other, date calculators, how many days it's been between two dates. So really, I think it's a nonprofit. In fact, I think they are also survive off of not just advertisement, but donations as well, from what I thought I read that. But anyway, you might know more about that.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
So just so you know, again, this depends on your horizon line, because even though it says that moonrise is at 7:44 p.m. where I am, it's actually coming up probably a good half hour later because I have mountains in my eastern view.
Yeah.
And so but if this was like on a flat horizon line, the it'd be 20 minutes from sunset to moonrise. So the sun would set and then the moon would rise about 20 minutes later. Flat horizon line. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so the fullest
That's
rise of the moon will be the actually the 28th. because the full moon is on the 29th is early in the morning. So by the evening, it's already starting to wane, but you won't notice it. I mean, get out to see it whenever you can.
Right. Because it looks full, I mean, really, really full for about a 3-day period.
Yeah.
So, the 28th, 29th, and 30th are all going to look extremely similar.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about Altair. Would you like to talk about this or?
Sure. Yeah. So Altair is around 2 degrees Aquarius. And it is considered the eye of the eagle. And you can see the image here. It really literally is drawn on the eye, or the eye is right there on the eye of the eagle. And what's fascinating about it is all last year, Pluto was hanging out with this star pretty close. And it's still really close because it's going to go direct on October 15th at at about 3 degrees of Aquarius, and Altair is 2 degrees Aquarius. So it's within a degree of this star. And because the full moon is at 6 degrees, it's within 4 degrees of being exact with this star at this time. And so how is this expanding our perception from the eagle's eye view? How are we being inspired? And basically, this is one of the Bohemian stars of the ancient alchemists. And it
Mhm.
was, and so whenever a planet was within 6 degrees of one of these stars, it was considered to be magnifying the energy of that star. So we could imagine that this is suggesting we have access to the eagle's eye view with the possibility of seeing and visioning a new, more peaceful world if we choose it. And just to say, I saw a golden eagle fly in circles. This was many years ago, but fly in circles until it flew up so high it disappeared. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that. I've seen birds flying high, but never saw one fly as high as this one did. So they really do fly closest to the sun. All the things they say about eagles is very true. And so we
Yes.
get that bigger cosmic perspective, which is what Aquarius is all about anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen one disappear. I have seen ones pretty high up and harder to see, but I've seen the outline of the eagle at a high altitude, but not not what you experienced there. That's amazing.
Literally, I was with a couple of other people and we are like, did we just see that? It's like that. It took a while. It was flying in circles and then it was a teeny little tiny dot. And then finally there was no dot. It was just gone. So,
Wow.
yeah,
And
it's
they have incredible vision too, the eagles, hawks, and those birds, particularly the eagles. And so when we think of eagle's vision, eagle eye, it's a compliment. It's like you've got incredible vision. You can see at very long range, and there you go. You just shared that story that really exemplifies that.
yeah,
So they can fly that high and still see what's on the ground, I think.
I guess.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I think, well, if I was in an airplane at that altitude, I mean, I could see down there, but I may not be able to pick out the as many details as an eagle might pick out. All right, so let's look at the Sabian symbol, which I absolutely love when I looked at this when I was doing my July forecast video, and then of course I looked at it for this episode here of the Full Moon series I do with Cayelin. A child born out of an eggshell. That's the Sabian symbol, 7 Aquarius. We always add one to the degree when we're looking at the Sabian symbols. So transmutation, the birth of new creative original impulse, incubated ideas coming to fruition. She writes, Linda Hill in her Sabian Oracle book, she writes genetic engineering, in vitro fertilization, people beyond their time, mutations, seeking the unusual, the unexpected birth. I think you kind of get the image here. And then so when I look at this as an interpretation, it's like an emergence and birth of a novelty within a mystery container. So it could be Pandora's box, knowledge from the sky, or simply an enigma that will not be defined. It will resist being defined, but yet bring something that we haven't seen before. So it's really interesting that Pluto conjuncts the full moon because it symbolizes this death rebirth within Aquarius, an unexpected occurrence is opening humanity to a new form. So I think of this as something emergence. It may not be like something very dramatic happens on that particular day, but I feel there's something important that the Sabian symbol is confirming of all the things we've been sharing. It's confirming that something really critical is happening here with this Aquarian full moon.
I love the egg. I love the rainbow eggy, the kind of thing. And it makes me think of there's a saying that says, if an egg is broken from the inside, life begins. If the egg is broken from the outside, life ends. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So we're ready to, it's like, we're ready to be birthed. We're ready to be born into into a new way of being. Love it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and then this is one of my favorite songs of all time. Um, I'm not going to go over the whole list of my favorite songs, but this is one of them. And I just learned, I didn't know this, but I learned that it was released just about a month and a half before I was born, in 71. And so I was like, wow, okay, that makes sense for me. Um, I have an energetic resonance to John Lennon's song here. Imagine, and he was born with an Aquarius moon only 3 degrees from where the full moon is going to be. So, and he was born with a Pluto Chiron conjunction opposite the full moon. So we've got a Pluto moon conjunction. So it's, Pluto's on the opposite side of where it was when he was born. So the release date uh, was October 11th, 1971. There was a billboard. This image here was put on in public display at billboards um, on September 18th. So just a month before that. And so I've got some of the lyrics here about this. I'm not going to actually sing it, but I'm going to read it. Um, and so, oh, by the way, and let's see, the release date of the song featured a North Node Mars conjunction in Aquarius, and then also a Uranus Sun conjunction in Libra. But of course, Uranus tends to bring in a lot of Aquarian type energy. And so the fact that it got released with some strong Aquarian energy in the field is pretty remarkable. And of course, John Lennon had an Aquarius moon. So
So the North Node was in Aquarius, where the North
yes.
Node is going to be at this full moon back in Aquarius.
Oh, that's true. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. I didn't quite key on that, but yes, absolutely.
I'm like,
Um,
whoa, this is amazing. And this song, I love that you're going to read the words, um, because this is what we want to do. We want to imagine what we want this world to be. We want to imagine it. So take it away, Eric.
yeah, so imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us. Around the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the worlds, all
Love
the
that.
world. And I think there was another line in there about no boundaries, no borders of no countries. Um, that was, I think, the earlier part of the song where he's imagine no borders or something along those lines. It really speaks to this like Aquarian utopian type of image. And I always thought that there was a little bit of Pisces sprinkled in there as well in this image. And but at the same time, and we may not necessarily achieve the exact vision that this song represents that maybe John Lennon channeled through, but I feel like the intent here may be something that we could create on some level in the future. So I just really love this, and when I was adding this slide to this presentation here for this web for this talk here with Cayelin, I was like, when I was reading it, I was like getting very emotional because it's like every time I think of that song, I think of the that humanity could create this if it wanted to.
I agree. Love it. Imagine all the people sharing all the world that we would be, it would,
Hmm.
I think the I think this has been speaking into this possibility. Everything that's happening, all the planetary alignments, the full moon, everything that's going on is speaking into this in such a powerful way. Maybe now it's time for that to happen.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like it's a definite reflection. Um, and of course, I feel very personally connected now, much more with this song because of it was released just 6 weeks or so before I was born. Um, so there's that cosmic energy connection there with that. And actually, John Lennon's Moon is conjunct my North Node. Um, so uh, there is that part too. Hey, maybe if
Your
he
North Node is in Aquarius, Eric.
yeah, yeah, seven
So
degrees.
you're coming into your nodal return.
That's right. Yes. Just a few more weeks. Um,
Wow.
and if John Lennon had survived, let's say he wasn't murdered in 1980, I think it was, um, and maybe there would have been an opportunity to maybe meet him at some point in the future. I don't know, but imagine the possibility of like, what would that be like? Would I recognize him on a different level, and he would recognize me? As you know, when I'm looking at nodal connections with the moon, those kinds of things happen all the time out there in the world, and it can be very powerful.
Beautiful. I love how this is all coming back around.
Yes, yes. Okay.
All right, so now we have the Nakshatra, uh, Shravana, um, where this full moon is taking place. And this is the essence of vibration that listens, understands, seeking learning and wisdom. Yay. We need all that too to go along with
Yes.
all this. So this area of the sky honors sacred connective energy from the inside out. And we were just talking about it's from the inside out that life begins. And associated with Lakshmi and Vishnu, this nakshatra is about cosmic harmony, pulsating with all attentiveness, that is decoding the whispers of the cosmos. And Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth. She is she's the one, it's like everything comes from her in that sense. So Shravana means hearing and is ruled by the moon. It relates to listening to others and one's inner voice, symbolized by a full moon and supported by a crescent moon. You can see in the image there. And so the three smaller circles connected by lines to the larger one, evoke the connection between speakers and listeners. I love that. And the symbols are ear, monkey, Saraswati, Vishnu, star learning and listening. Star learning and listening. We can learn from the stars when we're listening to the stars, including inner listening and wisdom that transcends the material world. So this is
Mm.
also what we can do to engage with this full moon is listen and connect. Yeah,
Yeah. What vibrations are you picking up from the universe, from the stars, from the planets, from the life around you? Um, and as I like to share at various times, and I think I originally got that from either you or Daniel, or maybe both of you, back in the day about the word understanding, and how it literally means standing under the stars. Um, and so that's can give people pause for thought, just like, oh, hey, stand under the stars and gather the wisdom. Listen, listen, listen. Don't
beautiful.
form your own opinions quite yet.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right.
So we're going to wrap this up with a quote. Well, I think I wrote this, maybe I don't know. I can't remember where I got this, but I think I was inspired by something about known knowns and unknown knowns and unknown unknowns. And so this is what came out of that. And if we think about the Aquarian mysteries, there are the known knowns and the unknown knowns and the known unknowns. Anyway, you'll get what I'm talking about when I share this. But this is just a way to help expand our perspective because we can be limited by what we think we know. So there are known knowns, things that know we know or think we know. So oftentimes things we know are things we think we know, and maybe later we find out that it wasn't really what we thought. There are known unknowns, things we know that we don't know. And there are unknown unknowns, things we don't know that we don't know. So it's a vast array of things. So known knowns are often limiting. Known unknowns are often scary. Freedom occurs when fear of the known and the unknown is accepted and released. So hopefully this is something that we can also work with as we engage this just spectacular month years, and this especially Aquarius full moon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think I remember you speaking about this at some class in the past, this particular quote, and I think I've only heard it from you specifically. So
So I can
I
claim it.
don't, you might be able to claim it, although maybe there was a different version or something that was written from some philosopher or psychologist, or I don't know, whoever it might have been. I don't know.
I'm not attached,
So
actually. I
it's
just,
it is literally an unknown and a known unknown. And so we can release that connection and just simply share it.
that's right.
Um, that's right. And if anybody out there that is watching and listening to this, if you know where this truly comes from, you're
Yes.
welcome to put a comment in the comments and enlighten us. Because we'd like to know what these unknown knowns are.
Right. If it's possible to know the unknowns.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
So until we meet again.
Yes, happy full moon, and we wish everyone well. Take care.